Okay. Hello everyone, welcome at the first video of the Vondel trade mission. The last couple of weeks I spent in China visiting Shanghai, Shenzhen and Hong Kong. As you can see on the background is the beautiful iconic harbor of Hong Kong, Victoria Harbor. I've been doing this business trip for a couple of reasons. First of all, I studied in Shanghai. I did my master at Fudan University there, apart from an earlier bachelor in Amsterdam. And after that I worked in the Philippines as well, in Manila. So I have a strong interest in Asia, and obviously China has made a massive impact on the world the last decades and will continue to do so. So I think it's very important to build and maintain relationships, to understand both China and Europe the right way, and that's why I'm here to really strengthen and renew my connections in the local scene. And I want to tell you some takeaways, some reflections on what I've experienced and what I've seen. So first of all, whom did I meet? I met some businessmen, some entrepreneurs, some local lawyers, some government agencies like Invest Hong Kong here in Hong Kong, some Dutch people, some British people, several local businessmen that are active in China for already the last 20 years. So I've gotten a lot of different perspectives, and what I can tell you about Shanghai was a city that was like, when I was living there in 2011, it was really like the Wild West. You know, it was an amazing city with skyscrapers, but it was still an emerging market. And now coming back into Shanghai, like basically 15 years later, I've seen a change Shanghai. A Shanghai with even more skyscrapers, but a very, very clean Shanghai with everywhere electric cars. So it's very quiet all of a sudden. It's so a very interesting place to be. At the same time, I did learn that many foreigners, many Westerners left during and after COVID. And you see that the Chinese companies have currently been hiring more Chinese people and less foreigners. Also, what you do see is that many of the big internationals, multinationals that expanded to China back in the early 2000s, and that now prefer to hire Chinese people that speak Chinese, so they don't really need many European or Western speaking people as much as in the past anymore. So some of the changes. At the same time, I spoke with some VC investors and private equity investors, both Chinese as well as German, living in Shanghai, and they've been telling me that there's still a strong interest from both markets towards each other. You see Chinese companies like the EV makers, like battery makers, and other high-tech solutions that are being produced in China that want to get sold across the world. So that market is still very active. At the same time, you see, for example, companies in Europe that want to sell their businesses to Chinese investors. So you also see that happening. So everybody is still fully in business, and it's important to stay on top. Also, what I've seen is that there's a strong rise in Chinese tourism, and this Chinese tourism is not only within China. So if you look at Hong Kong nowadays, it seems like many of the Westerners here are kind of like replaced by a lot of Chinese business people or a lot of Chinese tourists that are coming here now. But the same goes towards Europe. So a lot of Chinese people are traveling towards Europe, and this will only increase over the coming years. So this also offers opportunities, and some of my European contacts active in China are also focused on, for example, getting high-end hotels within Europe to tailor to the needs of the Chinese. Interesting thing about China is everybody is using one app on their phone, which is called WeChat, or the other one called Alipay, and with that you can communicate, pay your utilities, order a taxi, order your food in the restaurant and directly pay the bill. So everything goes via one app, which makes life super convenient. And also if you want to order something else, you can do everything via one app. So China has made a lot of steps in becoming extremely efficient and very, very modern. Maybe that's a nice bridge to the following city. We visited Shenzhen, and Shenzhen used to be a small city on the border of Hong Kong, but now is like the capital of the greater Bay Area in China. Shenzhen used to be the production site, basically, for everything that was being sold from Hong Kong or from other places in China. But now Shenzhen really became a huge city on itself. It has more than 20 million people, and the whole Greater Bay Area has 80 million people. So it's an immense region with a lot of economic growth. One of my contacts in Shenzhen, a Chinese guy, he took us on top of the Ping An Tower, which is the highest tower in Shenzhen, and from there you can look all over from the border of Hong Kong all the way to the other side of Shenzhen, and you see a massive, massive city with only skyscrapers, and everything is super modern. The transport, the malls, the headquarters of Alibaba, Tencent, they're based there. Look at all the EVs that are there. It's insane. You see that the city is completely quiet, the traffic at least. There's so many Chinese car manufacturers that are building their cars and selling it all across China now. That it's really it's a changed country in that sense. So that was my time in Shenzhen. Very interesting. Then I moved to Hong Kong, beautiful old Hong Kong, as you can see, once founded by the British. By some British opium traders that took it after the first opium wars with China and then expanded it with Kowloon and the new territories. And if we look at Hong Kong now, it had reinvented itself already several times during the years. Whereas in the beginning there were a lot of traders, it was the only access towards China. Now Hong Kong is really a grown-up financial capital. Many of the finance people did leave, perhaps to Singapore. Many of the multinationals did leave the last couple of years, but also that's because of trade that has changed. And nowadays, because of COVID, we all learned that within sales, within business development, you can just send an email and do a video call, and that way get your business done. So there's less need to come face to face for people, and that's also what you see here in Hong Kong. Several Westerners left. At the same time, as I said, it's reinventing itself, and it's still a global financial capital. The last couple of months, Hong Kong broke new records in terms of IPOs, and still from a financial perspective, these IPOs, mainly Chinese companies that are growing rapidly, is taking place via Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong is still a good place where you can, store your money, and which has access to great talent. I also met some Hong Kong entrepreneurs that are building from Hong Kong, hiring people from the Philippines, and then selling their products, their software, their services across the globe, and using Hong Kong as the interesting tax haven that it is, because the taxes here are relatively low, like around 15%. So, and there's no tax on wealth. So it's a good place to be still. Very beautiful. Exciting thing about Hong Kong is the fact that you can have a dinner in a Michelin star restaurant right in Central. Go to your office the next day, and after work drive 9 minutes to end up at Deepwater Bay, beautiful beach, and take a swim, and all that within like very close proximity of each other. So concluding, China is interesting. China is very interesting, and we need to keep China very, very close. 1.4 billion people. It's a market where we both import from, but also where we can export towards. At the same time, we have to tailor to the Chinese consumer that is coming our way in Europe, and we have to maintain the relationships for the high-tech products that they're producing here in China. And I see a lot of potential there. So there has been a super fruitful last couple of weeks. At basically 14 meetings with entrepreneurs, lawyers, government officials, see that even though the Western vibe is different than it was in the past, that's what you hear a lot. China has grown up, and Hong Kong has grown up and is reinventing itself in a new way. So I can all recommend you to visit, especially if you're entrepreneurial and if you're interested in global business and trade. And EVs, batteries, robotics. Go and visit Shenzhen, go and visit Shanghai, a super cool city, and definitely go and visit Hong Kong as well, which remains a key financial capital. And I've heard stories that many people are moving back from Singapore already this way. I can understand why. There's a lot more to offer than Singapore, I think. But leave it up to you to decide on that. Finalizing, if you ever need help with your growth, primarily focused on commercial growth, headhunting, or capital solutions, with Vondel we offer you that globally. We have a large network of partners. I'm not doing this by myself. I have partners across markets. I've been working with companies like Adyen, like Index Ventures, like the Rocket Internet. So from big investors and their portfolio companies towards large global scale-up companies across fintech, across marketplaces, across SaaS, across AI. Please get in touch with us, and I'm happy to tell you more and discuss how we can grow together. Thank you.